Good morning. Guten Tag. Hola, buenos dias. Bonjour, bonjour, bon matin. Um, new, new stuff, new stuff today on the SPTV Discord. Leaving Scientology. Calling all Louis Repetto fans. I don't know who Louis Repetto is, but it's in the suggested videos. So I'm gonna watch this. If you feel like chiming in, hop in the Discord. Let me hop in the studio here. And there we go. Move that back over there. Get the chat open. There we go. And if you feel like joining, hop in the studio channel. I got Discord piped in. Let's see what this is about. Leaving Scientology, A through J. Sources, oh boy, A to J. That's a correction list on a interrogation. Auditing. Sec check, whatever you want to call it. This is a new face to me, so I'm curious to see. All right, let's see what he's got.
Hello and welcome back to another show by Louis Repetto on Leaving Scientology. I just did one earlier today and I talked about what I was going to be talking about tomorrow at 6 p.m. with Miriam Francis, who is in the show, the two-time Emmy-winning show, Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath.
Oh boy.
Miriam Francis was in this show, season 2, episode 1. And we're going to be talking tomorrow live at 6 p.m.
Met her.
Central Time. And yeah, I hope to see you there, or great to have you watching on the replay. Anyways, back to what I want to talk about on this video, which is that in the last video, you don't have to watch the last video to understand this. In the last video, I explained that some ways that I used the some training that I learned in Scientology while I was in the Sea Organization. So when I was in the Sea Organization, which is a billion-year contract organization for Scientology, I went to Florida from LA. That's where I was working in the Sea Organization. I went to Florida and I did a full-time training there, Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yep.
And then I did full-time training there for 1 whole year. And I learned all about this course called the Potential Trouble Source Suppressive Person Detection, Routing, and Handling Specialist course. I learned this course. I learned about everything about having to do with suppressive persons, which are people that are opposing to Scientology. And also that there's other kinds of suppressive persons.
Right.
Specifically, let's just keep it at the suppressive persons are hi Pembroke Love, thanks. I in the Sea Organization. I'm doing this flag training for 1 whole year. I'm learning about how to detect and handle suppressive persons. And I did tons of drills on how to detect what emotional tone level someone is, and how to raise their tone level or lower it,
right,
depending on how my tone level is in response to your tone level. So if I do these drills where we walk around and I determine what your tone level is, and I would
Morning,
know
John.
how much,
I don't know why I
what
called
tone
you
level to
John.
do towards you
Morning, poet.
to either raise you or lower you on the tone scale. Did a lot of drilling. I did many hours of that.
Yeah,
I would
hundreds,
say
I'm
at least
sure.
100, 200 of that.
Mhm.
I really liked going outside and talking to all the bums with my clipboard and
I did
asking them
too.
questions and stuff.
I
Well,
did too.
designed by L. Ron Hubbard questions, as part of this drill. Anyways, back to detection and handling suppressive persons. Now, when I got back from Flag, it's 2002, January, I believe. And get put on post as the public master at arms. And
MAR.
I
Jesus
saw the
Christ.
comments there. Okay, so and so I was looking. Okay, I come back to the org, right? I'm the public master at arms, and my understanding
Mm.
of Scientology PTSSP tech is
Mm.
pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking know this shit. Like inside and out, I've got it drilled into my brain,
Mm-hmm.
into my mind, all these like patter drills that you do where you learn all the words and all the rules regarding suppressive persons,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the theory of suppressive persons and potential trouble sources. Suppressive persons' victims are the potential trouble sources.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real victim in Scientology, you'll find out, but as part of this, in order to detect and handle them, you have to treat them like they're kind of a victim of these SPs.
Yep.
So I learned that, and I come back and I've got it down. So I'm looking through. I take over for the other public master at arms, and I start reading information in people's folders and stuff.
Oh
There's like,
boy.
okay, there's a big room,
Oh
and
boy.
I'm only allowed in there. Only I have access and a couple other people, and in there are all these goldenrod folders,
Yeah.
files. There's tons of them on the shelves everywhere. Plus, there are stacks of people's folders, which is like all their whole account of Scientology, like what they've said about their past lives and their feelings. All that account is covered in their folder. So I'm in this room and there's like tons of these folders. I start going through these folders because I can now confront these SPs.
Yeah.
I start going through the folders.
Jeez.
And I found a guy that was evading taxes, and I pulled him in. I called him on the phone and I pulled him into the org and I asked him about the evading taxes. Is he still going to continue doing that?
Yeah.
And I showed him the references, which is
Morning, Tim.
sources of trouble A through J. And he's type B. Now, there's in the reference, in type B reference, the word in the type B reference, the word criminal record, what I thought it meant was just any crime you've ever done, whether it was literally in a record by the Justice Department or if it was oh man, it looks like it's freezing up here. How's everyone doing as far as the freezing? Is it okay?
I probably need to do a tech call on Louis Repetto here. Get him sorted out. Change a bit rate on his stream.
Cool. I pulled this guy in and he's type B, clearly. A little glitchy. All right, thank you. So he's type B, and I say, dang it, I should have Okay, cool. So thanks. I pulled this guy in and I asked him, is he going to continue doing these type B criminal actions? And he says yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to continue evading the IRS. So I told him, then I'm going to declare you type B and you're going to be disconnected from
Good afternoon,
us.
Lydia.
And if you have any money here, we will give it back to you. So I got to file
What?
together, put all this information together. I send it
Hold
to
on.
my
Give him back
authority
money?
on who can do this kind of things.
Give him back
I
money.
pulled this guy in and I asked him, is he going to continue doing these type B criminal actions? And he says yes. He's going to continue evading the IRS. So I told him, then I'm going to declare you type B and you're going to be disconnected from us. And if you have any money here, we will give it back to you. So I got to file together, put all this
Wow.
information together. I send it to my authority on who.
So this is bizarre because like he's doing the tech as per LRH, but we'll see what happens. He's telling the dude they're gonna give him money back? Huh? What? What? Scientology giving money back? Ain't no money back guarantee.
Who can do this kind of thing. And they approved it and sent it back. And I declared that person type B. So that person it's not a suppressive who can do this kind of thing.
Okay, so what?
And if you have any money here, we will give it back to you. So I got to file together, put all this information together. I send it to my authority on who can
His senior.
do this kind of thing. And they approved it and sent it.
It got approved? Okay, now this is after his training, and he's in the big case folder room looking at people's folders and finds a PTS type B, brings him in, says you got to disconnect because you're doing illegal shit. And his senior, not only are you doing illegal shit, but we're going to refund all your money. His senior signs off on it. Now, I can actually see psychologically how that would be a thing for a newly posted staff member who's just gotten off their training to do things, quote, standard tech, and then slowly bend the rules, use policy. Really interesting so far.
It back. And I declared that person type B. So that person it's not a suppressive person declared, but they are type B now. People know that they're type B, that they don't want to be Scientologist. So it's not really published, the thing necessarily. But yeah, that's a good point actually. So the label, the piece of paper, it's not published. Type B, maybe.
In my experience, if you were labeled PTS type A, B, or C, it there was no declaration of any kind. It was just whoever, like the MAA, Master at Arms, which is what this person was. Like you may not even know the MAA. The public might get called in, like this guy did, and have a meeting with the MAA, the Master at Arms, military type culture, and so there he's evaluating someone's case on PTSSP and ethics stuff.
Maybe it was like in the 90s or in the 80s, but when I got there in the early 2000s, it was not public.
I didn't know either, Lydia. I just looked in the Discord this morning, and there were two new. Let me show that real quick. SPTV Discord suggested Louis Repetto, Pete Jensen. These are all the channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay.
And at least for the Sea Org. So I
Lydia, or no, Tim. I'm always suspicious of new exes surfacing and talking, but this fellow seems legit and very knowledgeable. He does already, but it is, you know, I mean, when people are just coming out, they're still, I know I was still hanging on to tiny little pieces of Scientology because it gets so buried deep into your subconscious that you still communicate, you still body language, kind of like a Scientologist. So, um, totally understandable. Um, yeah, and poet, yeah, you can just hop in the Discord. I can pipe you in. Let me throw the link up. Who's messaging me? Um, okay. So it's cheese. Just grab a link here. Copy. Yeah, no, it's good to be it's not good. I'm not saying to be paranoid or immediately think that someone, question every little thing, but um, there's been what seems like people come out even on the highest levels who uh for one reason or another get pulled back in. And I have some friends that happen to that I was on staff with. And it sucks.
for a Sea Org, like the org that I was in, Asho Day. So I
Asho
declared
Day.
him type B, boom. And then I did another person, type H. And then found out they were type H by looking through their file and stuff.
I don't remember type H. That must be in the advanced training.
And calling them and asking them. And they ended up being someone who was just open-minded. And they were also responsible for condition case. So when I called her, she told me that she did not want to, she wanted Scientology to pay her back for the auditing that she got because it made her condition with her leg or whatever
Crazy.
worse.
Yeah.
Or her hips worse. And so I labeled her type H. And
I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at the suffering. Although, comedy, drama, tragedy, comedy, tragedy. Yeah. There's something to be said for laugh through the pain. Because at some points you just what if you can't laugh, oh, it's just a bad time. So yeah, I'm not laughing at her pain and suffering in the situation being type H, which I've never heard of her, um, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I've just never heard of type H. 1, 2, 3. Or ABC. Type 1, type 2, type 3. But I'm sure there are multiple classifications. Like, there's type PTS type 2F. You know, look at the human chart of uh, Well, he talked about the tone scale. You got the human chart of evaluation, and then you've got the gradation chart, and probably some other charts.
And I sent her away. And then
Lydia, that's a great point. You say maybe they are returning it as it's due to the IRS. This could be a strategy, yes, to return money to the IRS to get some heat off, or to, give them their money. Because surely I know from the Treasury Secretary, no Treasury Secretary that I ever knew had any kind of financial background. They just throw people in there and say, make it work. So I know that there's monies due. Good morning, Selma.
and I think I mailed it to her. Might have mailed it to her. Then
What did he mail?
I got taken and I think I mailed it to her. Might have mailed it to her.
Oh,
Got because it made her condition with her leg or whatever worse,
okay.
or her hips worse. And so I labeled her type H, and I sent her away.
Yeah, he labeled her type H, and then he sent her a declaration via mail.
And then
Yeah, Lydia, this guy was an MAA at ASHO, is what he's explained. "5 p.m. It's 5 o'clock. I know the guy who wrote that song. I have a picture of me doing a dap on stage with him, and he's like, "I don't want to touch you." That's what it looks like. Pretty funny. Name is Don Rollins. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. If you're from the South in the United States, you've heard that song way too many times. He didn't make it famous, but he sold it, and yeah, got the surgery that he needed.
I think I mailed it to her. Might have mailed it to her. Then I got taken in 2000, and so that was.
Oh, is this the first time we've heard an MAA speak out? Specifically an MAA? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't seem right. Uh, but it could be. I mean, someone might say they were just an HCO, like Div 1, and they may have been an MAA. Also, another thing to remember is that even in the Sea Org, uh, people jump post to post at a certain point. If a person becomes unable to perform their duties as that post, they're reassigned. So,
Was the A to J sources of trouble.
yeah, Selma is regarding the song "Time for a Drink," right? Yeah, that was the premise of the song. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm gonna have a drink.
And then so there were more instances of this too, but since my camera feels like it's very glitchy, I'm gonna probably end off here shortly and then head inside. Because I should plug in my Ethernet cord. I bought a cord that's like 25 feet long. I should just plug that into the internet. Duh. Anyways.
Yeah, it looks like he's on Wi-Fi.
That sources of trouble. I found this one guy. He was a type B. He was molesting his daughter,
What
who
the
then
fuck?
had a daughter.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, I took a toke already too. But this shit. Oh god. It's good that I have you guys here. I can't watch this shit by myself. I just don't think I can. Like, I I'll put it to you this way. I don't. I just don't. So it's broadcast.
Becoming a Scientologist. And I fucking labeled him type B. Fucking, like, when I saw that, I couldn't believe my eyes. You know, I just was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Like,
Right.
how the fuck does this person get connected to us? You
Yeah.
know, and just get like, oh, let's just let them be in here. We don't know what to do. I come along. I'm like, yeah, we get rid of these fucking people. We don't take
You
people
don't
in
take their
here
money.
who are fucking have
Cover up their
criminal
crimes.
records. Duh. So then, yeah, he wasn't caught by the police or whatever. But
Of course
it
not.
doesn't fucking matter. The whole point of the reference is sources of trouble. Doesn't matter if it's with the police or not with the police. That person is a criminal. So, and the definition of criminal is that they're continuously committing
Overt
actions
acts.
which are against the survival
Survival. Yeah. Overt
of
acts.
others and not and are only in for their supposed survival.
Yeah.
They're operating on all of these evil intentions. That's criminals. Like, what? Okay, weird. So I fucking declared him type B. And then later in 2003, October, I got taken out of being a public master at arms. And I got put
Of course you did.
onto being a supervisor for delivering services. So,
So I just want to point out that that's a pretty big difference in job, being an MAA to administering services. Um, like I said, ring around the it's the musical chairs. That story about the musical chairs and David Miscavige, oh my god, that is horrific to me. Yes, it is. It's musical chairs. What did I miss in this video? What did I miss?
someone who was just open-minded,
See, we got
and they
that
were
part.
also
That was the person who said that the Scientology auditing made her hip worse.
sources of trouble. And then
Yeah, Lydia. When I started, same thing happened to me when I wanted to get a tip to be an Esto, because they couldn't say that what I was saying was wrong, but they could throw some ethics cycle my way and get me off post so that I couldn't petition for a tip, a technical individual program, to correct what was going on that was fucked up. I mean, yeah. So, I don't know. I still don't know what part I missed. The story of the guy type B. Yeah, that the child molester. I didn't miss that part. I stopped.
so
Is that the
there
part you're talking about, Selma? You were there on the live. Yes, stress can kill you. Had my MRI results yesterday. No cancer, 7 years.
There were more instances of this too, but since my camera feels like it's very glitchy, I'm gonna probably end off here shortly and then head inside. Because I should plug in my Ethernet cord. I bought a cord that's like 25 feet long. I should just plug that into the internet.
Yeah.
Duh. Anyways, that sources of trouble. I found this one guy. He was a type B. He was molesting his daughter, who then had a daughter.
See, I think you came in right whenever I paused that, Selma, because when he said that, I had to stop. So, picking up where we left off. This is heavy shit for in the morning, man.
And that daughter was then like becoming a Scientologist. And I fucking labeled him type B. Fucking, like, when I saw that, I couldn't believe my eyes. You know, I just was like, what the fuck? What the?
You know, this is the thing I wanted to point out. He fucking labeled him type B. That behavior disgusted him. But he did label him type B. He didn't report him to the police. I'm not faulting this man. He was brainwashed. In his mind at that time, I'm sure he would tell you the same thing, that he thought, well, I'll let him speak what he said. I'll let him do the talking. But I'm just sharing what it's like when you are in that reality distortion field that Bitch Brisker talks about. I love Mitch. I need to watch some more of his stuff. That's who I need to catch up on.
The fuck is this? Like, how the fuck does this person get connected to us? You know, and just get like, oh, let's just let them be in here. We don't know what to do. I come along. I'm like, yeah, we get rid of these fucking people. We don't take people in here.
This is probably why he was
fucking
reassigned.
Criminal records. Duh. So then, yeah, he wasn't caught by the police or whatever. But it doesn't fucking matter. The whole point of the reference is sources of trouble. Doesn't matter if it's with the police or not with the police. That person is a criminal. So, and the definition of criminal is that they're continuously committing actions which are.
I would guess that, like, you know, that scared whoever his senior was, that he might actually report this to the police. And so he was reassigned.
Against the survival of others and not, and are only in for their supposed survival. They're operating on all of these evil intentions. That's criminals. Like, what? Okay, weird. So,
wow.
I fucking declared him type B. And then later, in 2003, October,
because I'm sure, you know, like, I know that the MAA that I knew from Mass Show back in the day, like, if they issued something like that, a declare, they felt like they had the power of LRH behind them, and the church was behind them. So they did go through a lot of training, and they were very confident that the right thing would ultimately happen. MAAs disappear, just like everyone else on post. People disappear all the time because of the musical chairs thing.
I got taken out of being a public master at arms.
Yeah, Lydia, you know, I can't skip over that. Sorry to stop the video, Selma, but Lydia said, "Good way to shut the poor girl up." Yeah, and I mean, what the literal fuck? What the literal fuck? Um, that is so wrong. AF
And I got put onto
on so
being a
many levels,
supervisor for delivering services.
on every level.
So, like 4 or 5 years go by. I see this motherfucker, this type B dude that I declared and said,
Uh
"Hey,
huh.
you guys gotta get rid of this dude
Yeah.
because he's obviously,
He's fucking his daughter.
did
Jesus Christ.
illegal stuff, even if it was 100 years ago. It doesn't fucking matter. Can't have
Mm-mm-mm.
this person." And I always used to say, there's an LRH reference that says you need to make this good in the eyes of the law. And that's what I used the reference as.
Yeah. Wow.
And this guy,
So this is what I say about like reference wars, like, and there's a policy and a reference that can counteract any other policy and reference. So you can fight your way up, or you can fight your way. You can fight your seniors if you're a junior with LRH. You use LRH to fight your seniors to do what's right. And as crazy as that sounds, um, it's from that place for me that like I had the urge to quote fix the course room at Melrose and the Melrose mission itself. Uh, because the things that were happening, were going on, weren't right. They were taking people away from their careers and not helping them flourish, um, convincing them to do things that they didn't want to do, and auditing that they didn't need. Um, Selma says, "My thoughts about the constant reassignments. If you keep switching jobs, people never get grounded and can't form any consistent thoughts about the situation. Keep them in motion, keep them confused. It's all about mind control." Yes. Yeah, this is mind control. And you got to factor in all the other aspects. It is not just the switching the jobs, it's the sleep deprivation, it's the food deprivation, and the overwork, and the sleep deprivation. When you get that stacked up and you get rack up a sleep debt for 2-3 months, um I dare say that you could probably plead insanity, you know, temporary insanity, uh, because they could spin you. Makmirdokigal. If you do religion right, it can be very profitable. Sleep debt can kill you. Well, we were young, but yes, it can. But the way they treat the elderly, oh my God, it's just a body, and they're just waiting for it to die. It's like how Jim Henry died. Uh, as soon as he had body problems, they'd kick him to the curb. All right.
this guy fucking still back on services. So I'm a supervisor. I'm sort of in the, now I know who all the public are from all the different organizations. I'm like delivering the services to the people. And so,
Wow.
I'm not doing this ethics stuff anymore.
What the
I'm not
fuck?
pulling people in and like interrogating them and shit. I'm just doing the services. And I'm supervising courses, and I see guy, he's fucking there, he's back on service, and I see his his kid in there, and she's just
Oh my
like
God.
having she's also like
His kid's kid, which is his kid. My God. He impregnated his daughter. And her. and both daughters are in Scientology. Jesus Christ.
Just having situations while on services. Uh, I don't really know what they were exactly, but I have read her folder before, but I can't remember now. But obviously, I mean, she was, it's just, and then there are other instances
What
where
the fuck?
I objected um,
What
to
the
people
fuck?
continuing service or being allowed to do service, and they were just continued on to be just let be serviced.
What the
Because here's the
fuck?
thing, like I would, even though I left out of the public master at arms in 2003, I was also doing, because of my skills as an interrogator, ethics needed someone to do interviews on people. So I ended up doing lots of.
Tim, I think that in some cases they do that. I'm pretty sure Jim had a life insurance policy, and that would be worked out through in Ventura. They always had insurance people that were a good target and real estate people. So they would tit for tat, reg each other, sell each other stuff, and I think that Tom and Kathy had a policy on Jim Hamry. I think that's how he was able to spend the last days of his life in Santa Maria. Uh, yeah.
Interviews on all these public people, paid service people. And I would find fucking people evading the IRS. I'd find people um, looking at negative stuff about Scientology, and then I'd find all sorts of things that people were doing. And I was just on the services stuff, but it wasn't my job. But I still found out about these things, so I was still able to see that people are just let. I guess it's like, does Scientology have a responsibility to report? Um,
Yeah, you got that right. No matter how bad you think it is, it's always worse. Um, I haven't caught up on Liz Ferris and Serge.
report
No, no spoilers.
someone that's like doing illegal things, you know? Seems like they should have a responsibility in that. So yeah, but I've been watching these Jason Begay um,
Oh shit.
videos lately, and he's really spoken to how I don't know, just he's a good speaker. I get defensive though when he's talking because he's saying how disconnection is so awful and disconnection this and that. And I always defensively go, well, people have a right to disconnect from people. People have a right to, it doesn't matter, like, whatever the reasons are. It can be because of a religion, it can be because of whatever. Like, people are adults, they can disconnect from people. There are other reasons besides just Scientology that people disconnect from people.
Yeah, I'd say that this is like sort of logical or trying to reason out uh the philosophy still. I don't want to say he's brainwashed. He's um making a video and talking about this stuff. Um which is a super difficult thing to do. Um but the what Jason Begay, if you've watched those videos, he's talking about Scientology disconnection. He's not talking about boundaries because disconnection is not the same as that. But I understand where he's coming from and being defensive because you hold on to ideas for a very long time. It takes a long time. That's Chris Shelton.
Other people, relatives and stuff. And then I thought, well, that's true. Then my regular person thought, yeah, that's true, but I don't want to deal with I'm sorry. I'm like trying to think about disconnection and how it's right or wrong. I think for a Scientologist, they're doing it because I've always thought they're doing it because they want to get the person back. That's why they're disconnecting. If it's someone they want to get back, obviously.
Hmm.
But if it's just someone they don't even know and they just had a run-in with, yeah, you can just disconnect. It's no big deal. You know, if you ran into a guy at the fair and he was an asshole, and you just want to disconnect mentally from that dude,
Hmm.
you can. That's part of the PTS tech. It's just like if you, let's say, a girl had it as an item, that a shock machine could be her PTS item. Like she felt the victim of a shock machine. That could be an item. That's fine. You know what we'd have her do? Have her write a disconnection letter to the shock machine and just file it in the files. Like,
Yep. This is an interesting point on PTSSP tech because PTSness is not exclusive to just humans. You could be PTS, like he said, to a fax machine or something, a light switch. You could be PTS to air molecules. And he's suggesting to people like or he's making this analogy about someone who is PTS to an item and writing a letter to that item, disconnecting from it.
ending, like that connection to the thing.
And that would be a literal thing like, dear fax machine, because you have committed uh, acts of overt acts against me as a Thetan, I am disconnecting from you um, in all of your matter, energy, space, and time. Whatever. It gets weird.
So I see like disconnection is useful. Um, I think disconnection is useful some capacities. For me, it was a huge, so helpful. Um, Definitely not helpful for Scientology, that's for sure. Because they disconnected me from them, they tried to get me back by trying to sell me stuff right after they disconnected me from them. Because
Selma, you seem like you're way more up to speed on everything than I am. No spoilers, please.
when they Scientology declared me a
Hey,
special
Beach.
person and kicked me out, they disconnected me. I was just disconnected from my family. I was disconnected from anyone I ever knew. I was disconnected from all my friends and just everyone. And so that really helped me, though. It helped
I
me get
understand.
out of there.
I understand.
Getting disconnected.
I totally understand what he's saying, because when we went to California, we disconnected from so much. And in addition to not doing so much drugs and me not, just living like trying to live like Jim Morrison until I die, join the 27 Club, uh, it became this massive distraction. And we moved to California and disconnected from so many people. And where we didn't disconnect, there was just a faint little line of a thread of a connection, even with our closest family.
Help me. So I'm not so opposed to their disconnection policy. because they're like shooting themselves in the foot by making people disconnect. That's so stupid. So I'm happy they have the disconnection policy. It helped me when I had to be disconnected. I'm glad I was disconnected from my parents too, because they would have just got me back into Scientology.
Okay, he's a second gen, I'm assuming now.
And then I would have thought I was preventing them from doing Scientology because I was thinking about leaving while I'm like not in the Sea Org, but I'm still in Scientology in my mind. I'm glad I wasn't connected to them because they would have been like encouraging to me to get back on the bridge.
Right.
They would have been
This is interesting because, this is an example of how you can use Scientology to get out of Scientology. This is another example of how to do that. This is great. I used the doubt formula. He used disconnection. It's fascinating. His connection, by the way, is just terrible. Like, it's still rolling. Um, yeah, he needs to plug that Ethernet cable in. Yeah, I like the idea. Well, that's the thing. How many other ways are there out of Scientology using Scientology is what I think about. Because I really do trip out when I think the thing that got me out of Scientology was Scientology itself. What the fuck? And it's hard to say, that there's anything good about Scientology. But the doubt condition and finishing it, because I was completely entrained in the tech, there was no other way that I could leave, like logically in my mind. I had to finish the doubt formula. And once I finished the doubt formula, then it was, whoa. It was like, if anyone knows Douglas Scott Kramer, when that book was set on his door, it completely changed his life. So when I finished my doubt formula, boom, it just completely changed everything. I was like, whoa, I have a lot of stuff to just throw away and never think about again because it's all a bunch of bullshit. The statistics of the organization you were a part of, oh my God, I'm looking at them. I'm watching YouTube. I'm getting the information from any source that I can. Clambake, Xenu.net, ESMB message boards, and reaching out to Class 12 auditors that had left the church. And yeah, I took and compiled and wrote a whole doubt formula. And the positives of Scientology were so small that they only took up like 1 page. But the negatives was like 11, 12 pages. I sent that to Dominic at the Baton Rouge. I guess this guy lost connection after this. Is that what happened, Selma? Good morning, Juliana. Um, it doesn't look like he reconnected. Oh, that's creepy. Oh, wait a minute. No, he comes back at the very end. Okay. Let's see what happens. I'm guessing it's brand new. Streamed 16 hours ago. Oh, he's got a...
Sorry
look,
about that.
now he's got a mic and stuff. All right.
Oh, I'm gonna end the stream now. Thanks for watching. My power went out.
Oh, man. It's all good, Louie. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm subscribed there. I like that. Oh, that's too funny. Okay. Let's see here. Back to SPTV Discord. There was another video in the okay, there's Louis Repetto. Leaving Scientology by Louis Repetto. Okay. That was something that I didn't see. Maybe that was the one that I'm missing. Oh, this is an hour-long one. I hope his connection isn't.
What up, party people? It's Louis Repetto live again. If you end up on my screen, let me know if you can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can, but I want to make sure, and I don't have anyone here to check. I can look audio. Yeah,
It's
that's good. I guess they can
looking
hear me.
better.
Well, thanks for watching on the replay or live. I am doing a video today, and I'm not really sure what I want to talk about, but I am pretty excited about.
Cynthia says the LDS Church has made apologist videos to smooth over members having issues with hearing the true history, and those videos is what gets them out. Yeah. Huh. True history, yeah. Right. I can see that. Just like this.
Having a video tomorrow live at 6 o'clock and featuring Miriam Francis, who was on season 2, episode 1 of Scientology in the Aftermath. Leah Remini, Scientology in the Aftermath. She was in the beginning for probably the first 20 minutes, and she tells her story there of being born into the Sea Organization and being a young cadet at a very, very young age and being SA'd while in the Sea Organization as a cadet.
What the fuck?
In that kind of situation in the Sea Organization, there's not a lot of people watching the children, and that is what she explains in this
Morning,
episode.
Wittens.
It's a very good episode. I also knew, okay, it was a very good episode, season 2, episode 1, and she does a really good job, Miriam Francis, of explaining her story to Leah and Mike, who were exposing the abuses of Scientology and the Sea Organization. So she does a really good job of that, and you should definitely check out that show if you can. And then she's going to be on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time, and she'll be on this channel. And we will be talking briefly about her stay on the show. I definitely want to ask her about, how'd she get on the show? What was she talking to? How did she speak out for the first time? I would like, and then also ask her about her experience with Leah Remini. What was that like? And what was her experience with Mike Rinder? And the whole thing, like meeting Sina Kamula and Sina, and just being there on that set. I think that'd be really cool to find out, and I want to know. Another thing I want to talk to her about is our intersection of when she and I were both in the Sea Organization in the early 2000s, because I remember her briefly, but she said she was at my church. She worked at my church. We were in 2 different divisions, completely different divisions, and it's just odd that even though she worked there for a year and a half, we barely ever met or interacted, and we were in the same work. That's crazy to me. So, I'm interested in talking to her about how she left the Sea Organization, because she was in the Sea Org after she became a cadet. In the show, it only talks about that part of her life where she became aide in the Sea Org. I mean, as a cadet, though. No, and then later on, she joined the Sea Organization, was a professional word clear, I believe, and then escaped the Sea Organization. She escaped, and she left probably some family behind. I knew her brother, and we'll talk about that as well. Her brother and I, he was on the church that was Asho Foundation. It's American Saint Hill Organization. That's ASHO. Day. I was in day. I was always in day. The whole time I was in the Sea Org, except for when I was in the security in the very beginning. So I was on the day organization, and I only worked to service the public during our service public hours, which was 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. That was just the public servicing hours. However, Sea Org members work from 7 a.m. until 12 a.m. every day. So all of that other time, we were doing other things. Ben Francis, Miriam Francis' brother, he was in Asho Foundation, and his primary public servicing time was nights and weekends. So he would deliver to the public 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then on the weekends he'd be delivering the whole day, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And at first, Ben Francis and I actually both went to Flag in the year 2000 together. He was in a different unit than I was. He was in what was called New World Corps, which was a beginning organization that only had a few people in it, and they were assigned to help deliver the upper levels of Scientology, the confidential parts, to the staff members. So he was part of New World Corps group. He ended up going to Flag for a year along with me. We weren't on the same plane or anything. I met him there. And he was in the Sea Organization. I was in the Sea Organization. I was at Asho Day. And I was doing full-time training for a year there. I mostly interacted with him like on drills and stuff. So we would do like pro metering drills and things like that together. And then we did the PTSSP course, specialist course.
Specialist course.
We did the PTSSP specialist course together. PTSSP, Potential Trouble Source Suppressive Person course. It's the course you learned how to detect anti-Scientologists and how to get rid of them from the organizational lines, which was any contact with public or staff members. So it was about detecting, and it's about how to recognize when. How can I say this in the Scientology terms? It's easy for me to explain it. But what about in brainwashing terms? Leah, Julia, hi Lewis, much love. Thank you. Yes, so the PTSSP course, PTSSP specialist was what it was called. And basically I was on there for a whole year. I learned how to recognize the indicators that pointed to people that were suppressive or that were connected to real suppressives. And I learned about how you can do this both organizationally and you can do it within a person. So not only was I able to audit and find out and brainwash the shit out of somebody so that they no longer thought that they were at effect of this, no longer.
I love that he just came right out and said it. These indicators can be seen in an organization or an individual, and he could brainwash the fuck out of somebody.
Thought that they were a victim of these suppressives. I was able to brainwash people out of that. and I was able to recognize indicators.
You can brainwash people into out of being victims, and then you can brainwash people into incriminating themselves when they didn't do anything. You can brainwash people to do anything and to say anything. It's absolutely fucking crazy. Uh, and it's done by uh, I call it, so like you got two forces. It's Sun Tzu. You have a I'm trying to be all sophisticated about it. It's you have the force of 10,000 armies and they have one little army, right? It's uh asymmetrical an asymmetrical advantage is what it's called. So, that's some water go down the wrong hole earlier. Almost spit take all over the board. You have an asymmetrical advantage over somebody when you're constantly looking for these little indicators that you can then point out. Um, that aids in the brainwashing process.
Organizationally, like for example, if we had there was a if there was a public on course and the public gave verbal tech to somebody else and said that the floating needle only has two.
Does everyone here know what verbal tech means? I'll explain it just so we don't lose anybody. Verbal tech is whenever you say something that isn't directly off of LRH policy or you're quoting or paraphrasing LRH. It's highly frowned upon. You can be reported for it.
Swings. Well, that person the supervisor would write a report on that public and then send that public with a piece of paper. It's called a routing form down to ethics. I was on the ground floor, and that's what I did. I was a public ethics officer. So I would use that information. I put that person on the meter and I'd hand them the cans and I would say, where did you get the idea that it was?
Okay. So anytime I see a former auditor, it's so fuck it. Even in the EMDR sessions that I do when we start the EMDR, I still get the heebie-jeebies, man. Like when he reached over like to hand the cans, I'm like, ah! I had internal visceral reaction.
Okay to tell people what a floating needle is. And they would say, well, I didn't get it from anywhere. I just thought of it. Then I would say, who have you been talking to about floating needles? Read on the meter. And they would go, nobody. I haven't, just people in the courtroom. I'd be like, okay, well, what did you think of when I asked that question? All right. What are you thinking about right there? And I would.
I had 6 hours of interrogation, 6 to 8 hours a day, sec checking for like months before I left, before and after I hung myself. And this shit gives me the heebie freaking jeebies. For reals. Yeah. Yo, CPTSD vibes. Oh, Lordy. I'm going to drop the Discord link again in case anybody wants to hop in and comment. I have the Discord right here. I can pipe it in as needed. You don't have to be here for the whole thing, but if you have something you'd like to add or say, I can put you live. Think of it like radio. That's essentially what it is. Just keep in mind that it's just like old terrestrial radio. There's a slight delay, So I will be ahead of the of where. Yeah, you remember when you used to call on the radio and be like, you have the radio on, the DJ's like, turn the freaking radio off. Okay.
Would essentially use the e-meter to supposedly help find this person find the answer. The person would come up with an answer. I've been talking about this with my father. And then I would say, thank you very much. Have you been talking to anybody else about this? Have you told anyone else this verbal technology, which is an explanation, verbal tech, sorry, is an explanation of what.
I already covered that, Louis. It's all good.
Any interpretation, explanation, or repeating of Scientology words, any words that Scientology in the context, if that is repeated, not verbal, not exactly verbatim, that is verbal tech. So if it's an interpretation, if it's a repeat of something and it's slightly changed, that's verbal tech. If it's if you're talking about something else with a friend or an opinion or anything or any comments on something, that's all verbal tech. So I'd be asking this guy, like, okay, then I would end the interview with this person.
I agree. Mach, milk, doch Kiko. The only way you should be the one paying for an interrogation is paying a lawyer. Yeah, well, they just took the money that I had off the account and or billed it to whatever credit they had on file for me.
Person, I would go to my ethics files in the back, and it's all locked up back there.
Good morning, Tiff.
I have a file on each public person, and I'd look up his father, and I'd actually call his father to come into the organization. And I would actually, if that guy was a Scientologist, if he wasn't a Scientologist, just ended it off there and just had to do a PTS handling on this public who was spreading the verbal tech.
Yeah, so that would be an example, like a not a big deal ethics cycle. It's like, oh, okay, we'll clear this up, no problem. Go on your way. Get back on course.
Another way that I use this is that I would receive a lot of reports. Let's say I started receiving a bunch of reports from public about a business, and the business there was some kind of sexual activity going on in the business, and there was there was reports on this. Well, I would simply look through my files and see if any of those people were on course in my org or on service. And if they were or where they had been, I'd call them in and I'd ask them about whatever the report was. I'd show it to them, say you got this report. I just want to find out about it. What's the deal? And I'd have them usually write something down because it's just a lot easier for me to deal with a multitude of public like this versus dealing with people in person. So I'd have the ethics receptionist. I was like a receptionist that worked for me and a couple other people.
Wow.
Her name was Wella. For a time, her name was Wella. There was a couple other people, but I'd have the ethics receptionist just tell them, hey, listen, just write this down, all the information. So I'd do that. Then I would review the information and look for any kind of suppressive characteristics. I would look through the antisocial characteristics that I had memorized.
Wow.
I would look for any financial crimes or situations. And like if someone was evading the IRS, I would look for that. And if someone was, I would pull that person in and I'd call them, or I'd send them a letter saying, you need to come into the org to come find out about this. So I can find out about this. What's this situation? And if they're like, oh yeah, I'm cheating on my IRS, I don't give a shit about Scientology, fuck Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction writer, I'd declare that person. I'd declare him A to J,
Yeah.
I would not. I did not have the power to declare people suppressive person. I did have the power to write a bunch of stuff in a file and then submit it for approval to declare somebody A to J. A to J, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all different types of sources of trouble for Scientology. I would write their name at the top. I'd write potential trouble source type B. That's what this IRS person is.
Yeah.
He's got a criminal record. A lot of people argued in the Sea Org that a criminal record, which is part of type B, is that you have to have it within the jail system. I always argued that's bullshit, because that definition, according to an administrative dictionary definition, which is a BPL, which is not even an Elrich reference. So I always
BPL, broad public. Oh man, you got me. You got me, Louis. He's using some terminology here. Let me back up just a smidge. So yeah, he couldn't do like Goldenrod declares. He could declare someone A to J, or out, what they call out A to J, and get it reviewed, and then get the declare. Basically, he would be the one reporting it and getting the declare pushed to a done, which is something that you completed. It's like complete cycle of action. Board public letter. Thank you, Hans Christian Schwartz. I was getting it confused with BPI, which is broad public issue. Yeah, I think it is BPL, broad public letter. And also, again, here's an example of somebody who knows right from wrong, Louis, who is saying and using the policy itself, and finding. You go and he's searching and finding. He's like, no, that's wrong. That's wrong, because look right here. But then some senior will be like, yeah, but the push is this, so like this is the policy, and he's like, how can you not see this is sourced? I'm not giving you verbal tech. I'm not giving you alter is. You're providing alter, and it creates a very tense situation for Louis, for anyone connected to him, really. Lord have mercy.
jail system. I always argued that's bullshit, because that definition, according to an administrative dictionary definition, which is a BPL, which is not even an Elrich reference. So I always said, Elrich said criminal record. If you have a record, if you have ever done anything illegal, you can't do Scientology. That's what I used to tell people.
Wow.
And
well, yeah, I didn't. They didn't follow that with me. I had all of my stuff was expunged. Yeah. So I guess whatever. I got caught selling weed when I was 17, and paid a fine, a large fine, and it didn't go on my record. And I did a bunch of community service, so I guess there was. I don't have a criminal record.
I was pretty, and so this IRS person that fucking wouldn't pay the IRS and said fuck Scientology and all this shit was obviously a suppressive person. And I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, funny. All right. So yeah, I saw that, Hans, the board policy letter, and they were canceled wholesale in the late 70s. BPIs were still used whenever I was in. Selena says, but what if we just haven't got caught? Does that count? I mean, yeah. There were several businesses in the greater Los Angeles area that were just scam businesses that were definitely not in compliance with the IRS or with labor laws of any kind, that were run by Scientologists, and maybe they got called in to handle it, but they just start another one. And Travis and I worked for one of these companies because what they would do is be like, "Oh, you want to go live in the WOG world? Well, go ahead. You need a job? Okay, we'll get you a job." And you go work for one of these companies and you make jack shit. We sold paintings, we delivered phone books all day long and got paid jack shit. Companies making money hand over fist, probably giving kickbacks and all that. So, um, yeah, I can imagine him calling these people and that there actually being some people in California who are just using Scientology as sort of a tax shelter. It's a loophole.
That the other Scientologists didn't get caught up in their little scheme, to spread their disaffection about Scientology. So I would declare them type B. For example, I did declare this one dude type B who was evading his taxes, and that's what I did. That's what I used. I used that PTSSP specialist technology that I learned at Flag for a year in the year 2000 to
2000. Okay. Huh. Do I know this guy? Do I know Louis? Because it's possible if he was at Ash Show.
to find SPs and like do these kind of things with them.
Does he have short hair? He's got long hair now? Fuck, I may have met this dude.
And then also find their victims. They in Scientology, it's not called a victim; it's called PTS, because there's no really victims in Scientology. I call them
I
victims
love
because
that he
it's easier to
points
think
that
about it
out.
like that.
I love that he points that out. That's a really great point that not all of us have made. Like, yeah, there's no victims in Scientology or PTS. You are cause over matter, energy, space, and time. Okie dokie, bong rip.
So all the SPs, suppressive persons, they had all these victims. So I'd have to go through and find all their victims. Like this one IRS dude that was spreading the disaffection about Scientology. I went around and I did a little interrogatory with these people. Like, but I did it in person, or I called them on the phone. I didn't
Selena, is PTS a term towards people in Scientology, or is it used on non-Scientologists too? Would we just be SPs? Um, PTS to the middle class is what most people would be considered, I think. SPs would be people like people in government, uh, your governors, your state representatives, congressmen, doctors, psychiatrists, therapists, psychologists. Um, Psychiatrists, the worst of them all because they're the puppet masters behind all of it for trillions of years. So, you know, it would be, yeah. I mean, SPs is sort of a term that Hubbard reserved for people like Hitler, compared to people like Hitler, uh, Mussolini, African dictators that murdered, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And the global elite, which Hubbard said there were 12 people who controlled everything, basically. And he said, he made elusive claims as to who they were, never mentioning a damn thing about who they were. Just said they existed. Morning, Miss J. Good to see you. Yeah, I just took a nice rip myself.
Send any like letters or anything with the interrogatory. An interrogatory is like a piece of paper that's a couple pages long that has a number of questions on it that are geared to find out about one specific thing or one person. And that's an interrogatory. You're supposed to tabulate the interrogatory and then find whatever information you're trying to find. I've done many interrogatories. I did these interrogatories on the public sector. So then I was there at Flag in the year 2000 through 2001 with Ben Francis, Miriam Francis's brother, Ben. So we were there doing it together, but we weren't like doing any courses together. We would just like see each other and like hang out. There's no socializing really there. And then I came back from Flag, and Ben got transferred. I don't know at what point he got transferred into Asho Foundation. I was in Asho Day. I was security. I was in the public. I was the public master at arms. And I was the public master at arms for about 3 years. And I dealt with public ethics situations where I was finding SPs, finding their victims, and fixing the situations. A lot of times I did a lot of handlings on public where they would disconnect from their family. They had earlier done that. I'd find these folders. So I'd find these folders of people where the dad or whatever, they were forced to disconnect from their daughter because the daughter was antagonistic to Scientology. That's the stupidest.
My biological father started calling the mission too much. Now, at first, they would just listen, and the kids were allowed to talk to him. They ran the telecom system in the mission. Trevor Miller, and which was the executive director's son, and you could monitor a phone call from the entire mission from any phone if you had the right code. And so, basically all communication was monitored. Kathy or Tom would sit in their office, and it was soundproof, so they could just patch into whatever line they wanted. When my dad became a threat and hostile towards Scientology, which eventually he did, I didn't have an MAA, but I had an ethics officer who declared me PTS to my dad. And so it was either handle or disconnect. And we went through a few handlings, and then basically they're like, no, I mean, this is it. You're PTS. So, like, do you... It was a choice that you had to make, and pretty black or white. Maybe, this is what he's saying. Why? Why does it have to be this way? And that he felt that way then. I can remember the ethics officer was usually Dominic would handle these kinds of things with me, because I was an illegal PC as well, and I had to petition to get serviced even as a volunteer, because I had taken psych drugs and LSD.
This fucking thing I've ever thought. Like, why would you disconnect? And I told the Scientologist this, this is so stupid. You need to reconnect. You need to reconnect with this person. They're like, oh, I don't know how. And I'm like, yeah, it's easy. You just talk to him like a real person. You just call them on the phone. I coached one guy. His name was Roy, and Ray. Ray. He had been disconnected from his daughter for 20 years because she was
Jesus.
antagonistic and he was getting some auditing at the org. And this was year 2000, and this is probably like from like the 80s. So he got sent to me to deal with it, and I said, okay, well, you need to handle your relationship with your daughter. You need to apply Scientology. You should not just disconnect. That's ridiculous. So I wrote him a list of references. It's called a program. I wrote him a program, a piece of paper, and it's got like 10 steps on it. And he's there to read all these things, and he's got to do between each step. He's got to come to me, and I've got to check him out on it, on the ethics stuff. And then I would sit there and I'd check him out on the different references that I showed him, which were usually just you can be right. It's one reference.
You
Another
can
one's
be
called
right.
the ethics officer. Another one's called a couple from the way to happiness, because I always use simple, like but simple references with the public because it was just a lot easier that way.
Yeah.
Set a good example,
The references that you could use are very wordy, lengthy, and heady and extreme. If you haven't watched Aaron's 2015 video, The Matrix and Scientology, it's 30 minutes. You will probably have to pause it a couple of times to get your mind around it. But it's very, very useful uh, to have that sort of foundational understanding of the extreme views of Scientology, being a staff Scientologist or SO, and having to, because what he's saying is it was easier to give the references and the counseling, if you want to call it that, uh, in the most simple references from like The Way to Happiness, You Can Be Right from the ethics book, stuff like that. Nothing from the tech vols, nothing from the blue vols or the management series or any of that stuff, the simple stuff. But all that stuff is like uh, echoed and exponentiated into uh, the mind of L. Ron Hubbard.
That's easy to fix. That's an easy thing that anyone can do. So then Ray, then I checked him out. Then I drilled him on how to talk to other people without making them wrong. That's what he was doing, and then I had him do it. I just had him send him away, and he did it, and he was so happy, and he was like practically crying. And I was like, yeah, this is like Scientology. You're supposed to use this in your life. Ben Francis, back to Ben Francis. He gets in the Sea Organization, Asho Foundation. That's on the.
So, okay. Grant people beingness without making them wrong, or talk to people without making them wrong. To me, that's like not being an asshole, and that's not Scientology. That's just called not being an asshole or a prick. Um, you know, nothing Scientological about it. That's for Juliana Bittencourt taking things back. That's not Scientology. The good things, there's nothing good in there. Oh.
Foundation. I'm on day.
The point being is that nothing that you could possibly attribute to Scientology is not something that wasn't attributed to someone else already. These are all other people's ideas. It was a big stew he mixed up with dash some craziness in it for control. Yeah. Did he believe it himself? Messiah or Madman? I still haven't read the book. Travis has read it. He says it's amazing. I should read it. It's probably a good book to read if you're into the SPTV stuff. Messiah or Barefaced Messiah and Messiah or Madman.
And he becomes a supervisor, I believe. And he becomes a supervisor. I don't really have much interaction with him, just like a hey in the hallways or whatever, because their schedules are totally different. I respected him though, because he was very precise and very he knew the reference. And also, even if he didn't know the reference, he could always find your misunderstood word, or he would say the exact right L. Ron Hubbard patter in response to something. Because just so you know, on these posts in the C organization, you're supposed to, the things that you reply to people are according to an exact pattern. So as a supervisor, he learned all of the pattern for how to respond to things. And so I respected his supervision pattern expertise. And he was very good at helping other people, I noticed, and other students and stuff. And I think he would come to me when I become a supervisor as well, but I was still in the day organization. He was foundation. I was in day. So we were both supervising the St. Hill Special Briefing course. And that was the main dish of the organization of ASHO, ASHO, both day and foundation. He was souping there, supervising, and
Souping.
he was supervising. Yeah.
God damn.
Then, oh yeah. Then much later, several years later, I became the staff section officer, and he became the staff section officer.
Wow.
This is wild that this happened. And then he was the SSO ASHO Foundation. I was the SSO ASHO Day. So he was the SSO and I was the SSO. So both he and I had to go every week. We had to go to Perimeter Council. And that was the main time I mostly intersected with him because his hours were different than mine.
Council.
We would go to Perimeter Council together. And Perimeter Council is a council of people. Like a lot of fucking council is so stupid. They call it's a group of people. The staff section officer, the staff master at arms of each org. So Continental Liaison Office, boom, they would have their SSO and their ethics staff person. This is all Sea Org members. AOLA, they would have theirs. ASHO Day, me and another person, Jenny usually. ASHO Foundation, me, sorry, Ben and Dagny. Then
Fuck.
Bridge.
You're
And a
killing
couple
me.
more. I'm gonna roll
You're
the
killing me.
freaking orgs on there right now. So we would all get together in a group.
The machine shop,
and
probably.
Senior Inspections and Reports Director. So the dude that's over all of us in regards to staff members' situations. So all these staff members' situations, we would talk about the progress. We'd have a little list. I have a little list of the progress for each staff member that wanted to leave, each staff member that was pregnant, each staff member that wanted to unalive themselves, every staff member that had been ill or had an accident or was roller coastering.
Yeah. Roller
So we
coaster.
have a list of all of these people, and it would be about 40% of all of the crew. So I had 120 staff in my org, and 40% of them had one of these conditions that I laid out. So we would have to report back at this perimeter council about each of these staff members. There was one point where we had to do like a medical perimeter council, which I didn't really like going to. Micho, my deputy, Micho Danelovich, he went to them because he took care of most of the medical stuff. I took care of most of the taking care of the auditing and taking care of the training of the staff members.
Wow.
So
wow.
Micho went to the medical one, but I was kept abreast of it. I knew a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of senior citizens that do get abused and there because they're not being taken care of.
Yeah, no shit.
That for another video, I guess. Then
yeah.
My what the hell am I saying? So what am I saying here?
I love
On
it.
The staff section office, I'm going to these perimeter counts. That is when I mostly interacted with Ben, because we would try to figure out how to handle people, and we would also talk about what we could do, like as exchange, like as a favor to him, and then he'd do a favor for me, because staff members, they need like different they're complex, and they have all these different parts, like their training, and then their medical, and then this and that and the other thing. So he had some skills and I had a lot of skills, so we would trade and stuff. And he also had a staff auditor, Estella Tapia. And so we would trade things and stuff. Ben was, I think he was a technical secretary for a while too. Anyways, Ben he would get yelled at a lot. Oh my God. Wow. He got yelled at so much by the senior INR, Lon Kloffler. I hope he gets stuck in the Sea Org forever on that Theta trap. Hope that's not a bad thing to say. Fucking asshole. So Lon Kloffler ran the perimeter council, and he, Ben and I, yes sir, yep. Mm-hmm. And then we'd make fun of that too later in our office. Like, we'd throw down our folders onto our desk, like, God damn it, this guy's getting fucking handled. We'd do that in our office, like separate from everybody else.
Yeah.
We'd joke about it.
Joking and degrading.
Ben was good at just helping. He was good at convincing people to do the next thing, the next L. Ron Hubbard prescribed thing. So he was really good at showing the reference, showing the reference. I think that is definitely, and he had like a really good communication. He was clear, and he looked friendly. He is friendly.
Yeah.
He would be so much better without Scientology. And we're in the Sea Org. Like, good Lord.
Yeah.
Scientology suppresses the shit out of him because he, he's always getting pulled up. I remember he was always getting pulled up by Renee Norton. Fuck you, Renee Norton. That chick abused the shit out of Sea Org members, and Ben was one of them. She would pull him up there and say how suppressive it is, and he is, for letting the staff members continue on and not get through their basics, and how he was such a piece of shit. Yay, thank you so much, Tamara. Glad you are out. Now you can be yourself and do what you want. Yep, goddamn right. I can go onto YouTube and bitch about people like Renee Norton. She was so abusive to her staff. She would bring the staff up in front of everyone and like berate them and yell at them and stuff. I just calling them awful names. And I'd hear about it all the time from Astro Foundation staff members, and Ben was no exception. So Ben then he told me about his sister briefly one time, Miriam. He said that he
I can laugh my ass off all I want, but like what he said was so true, and that's why I laughed because it's like, oh yeah, I'm out now. I can go on YouTube and bitch about people like so and so because what the fuck, man. Um, yeah, this should not be happening.
something to do with he couldn't tell me. I didn't know that Miriam had attacked Scientology verbally or
Leaving
publicly. I did
Scientology.
not know that, and until I left. Maybe she didn't, but he was connected to her, and he
There
was
you go,
asking me for a
Jay.
reference about PTS tech, and I showed him this reference. That's in the suppressed person. I showed him this reference in the suppressed person rundown, where if you, a Scientologist, get the auditing and handle the problems that you created that caused the suppressive person to then suppress you later, that will handle the suppressive person from far away, like magic. He even says it's like magic. I showed him that reference, Ben. I feel like he might have been thinking about whether or not he was going to disconnect from Miriam at that time. I'm not sure. I feel like it could be telepathic there and picking that up, but he didn't actually say that. But he did talk to me about Miriam a little bit. Said that she was in Australia, and yeah, some kind of PTS situation he had, but he wasn't allowed to talk about it publicly to other steering members like me. I was just his friend. I never lived with him or anything, but I knew his wife, Rady DePauli, and her mom. Her mom, oh my God, I just remember this. Rady DePauli, her mom. I think I supervised her mom for a little while. Ben might have even supervised her mom on some training courses. And then they were a really happy family. They were just so cheerful all the time.
You know, this is hard to do saying the names, um, because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Um, he's gonna get a lot of support. I think.
Yeah. Rady was the wife of Ben. Yeah. I don't know, didn't know her very much, but what I did know her, she seemed pretty cool. She was the establishment officer at AOLA.
There's just so much to fucking unpack, when you leave. Whether you were active and, or yeah, whether you were under the radar and still a Scientologist, when you make that choice and you flip that switch, um, there's this development that happens. You start to get your, uh, I mean, the it's a slow burn usually. And I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was Steve Hassan, that for most cult members it takes about 10 years to fully decompress and and to get it all out of their system. If they've been involved heavily and were like extremely had that extreme viewpoint, the fundamentalist viewpoint. So, um, that brain gonna be all right. Let's support that brain development. Keep talking. Keep talking.
And so I would see her at Permanent Council now and then. And she got to see what it was like to be abused by senior INR and Lon Kloffler. Fuckface.
Okay.
Tamara Lynn, Scientology makes you suppress, then condemns you for it. Yeah. Yeah, they really fucked up again. And once again, they really fucked up because, they didn't have to declare me suppressive person. They didn't even have to. They could have just let me leave the Sea Org and go with my family, and my family could have helped me get back on lines and stuff and be a regular Scientologist. But no.
Okay, he got declared. Interesting.
They had to fucking kick me out with nothing. And luckily, I am very strong, and I did have nothing. And then I got kicked out, and there you go. I'm here saying how much of a piece of shit Scientology is for doing mean things to people when they didn't have to.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
So, yeah. Ben Francis and I, and then he was a tech sec.
I heard a Lulu bark.
Just a person that's over all of the public services that the public come in and pay for. The tech sec was in charge of that.
Doing something
and he got yelled at all the time by Renee's. Okay. They didn't have to declare me suppressive person. They didn't even have to. They could have just let me leave the Sea Org and go.
So this is the ineptitude of like, oh, good point to another former Scientologist. Chris Shelton has a video called Scientology's Organizational Madness, and he talks about how insane it is being an executive. And this guy was an MAA. He was an SSO, Staff Section Officer, at ASHO, American St. Hill Organization, and then LA Day. And worked with a guy at LA Foundation. 120 people on premises. Man. And they declared him. I'm just wondering when. And how long has he been out? Because this stuff is so damaging. Brian, you're right on the fucking money. Because no one comes out unscathed from Scientology. And when you get out, you're damaged. You got to do some healing, some soul searching, whatever. Some getting lost, some not knowing who you are. I mean, you name it. You might have to deal with mental illnesses on top of that. Because, Scientology is just this big distraction while they do what they do. Got a new guy in chat. Rune. Sky. Rue. Rue, I'm too high. Rune Skitzing. Those goddamn Sea Org members have amazing optics in their Navy-inspired uniforms. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, they pimped that stuff big time in their propaganda. Selena, I've been in a lot of traumatizing situations in my life, but there's one type of trauma that compared to nothing else, and that's betrayal trauma. Yeah. It really does. And I've had a couple. Thanks for sharing that, Selena. It makes you paranoid. and breaks down your sense of reality. Selena, you had induced psychosis. Yeah, I've had that too. Short periods, but yeah. Um, and the betrayal, because this is, you know, this is nonprofit activism, trauma community stuff, talking about SA, domestic violence, things that happen. Uh, and one of these betrayal traumas could have easily ended with me going to prison for uh, for murder. You know, I threatened my stepfather's life, and because he was threatening to abuse my nephew. He says he's going to fix that boy. Well, I know what that means. So, yeah, betrayal trauma sucks. I recommend uh, finding a good therapist, you know, to anybody who has that kind of stuff that feels unresolved. Um, you can love people at a distance, and it could be the purest love that you have, but you can't make someone love if they're not going to love. If they don't love, and they may confuse love, or you know, their idea of love is not your idea of love. Okay, put it like that. You know, to me, money is not love. Uh, it can be a way to show love, but it is not love. And punishing people physically, inflicting pain upon somebody physically, is not uh, very effective in well it's not an effective means of it becomes you create a little monster in that person that they have to live with, and then that person is a monster that you're dealing with, like a real life monster, like a real life monster. I don't know if that comprend, that makes sense to y'all, but yeah, that that CPTSD stuff. Oh boy.
Go with my family, and my family could have helped me get back on lines and stuff and be a regular Scientologist.
I guess that's what I mean, you know, like with decompressing. Like it seems like there's still a lot decompressing, like just going, you know. There's memory synapses are firing, you know, da 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 da, and fuck them, and da, 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 da. You know, I think this is normal. I see this as a good sign, um, because he's speaking his truth.
But no, they had to fucking kick me out with nothing. And luckily, I am very strong, and I did have nothing. And then I got kicked out, and there you go. I'm here saying how much of a
Saying how much of a
piece of shit Scientology is
is.
for doing mean things to people
Yeah.
when they didn't have to.
They didn't. Yeah. No need to.
So, yeah, Ben Francis and I, and then he was a technical secretary, which is the person that's over all of the all of the public services that public come in and pay for, the tech sec was in charge of that. And he got yelled at all the time by Renee Norton. What a bitch. Renee Norton all the time by the tech sec. Ben Francis was the tech sec. And he used to, man, he could get loud. You know, he could get really intense, because when you do drills in Scientology, you're doing, not only are you doing communication drills, which is public pay for, but there's also these additional drills, executive drills. And you really learn how to impinge like your communication on a group of people and stuff. And there were a few times where he went yelling and screaming at his staff or at someone in his office. But no one cares. No one cares about that. That's not even like a bad thing. You can yell and scream at people. It's not like a bad thing, Ben. You can leave now. You haven't done any harm, you know? Because really, I can't think of any other situations where I don't even think he ever had a justice action. Like I had 3 committee of evidence. I've had 3 of them. I've had like 2 courts of ethics. I've been assigned lower conditions like at least 25 times.
Maybe that's why they wanted me to go do ComEv, so they could declare me. Like I would go to that bullshit tribunal. There's the Discord. Selena, you're making so many good points. I can't possibly. You just jump in. It's all good. Open forum.
I was there for a long time.
But I get to control the knobs. I like to play with the knobs.
1999 to 2013. I was there for a really long time, and I got assigned so many conditions. I had to do so many like penalties, bilge work. Anyways, sucked. Ben's still there, slaving away, I'm sure. And probably they're going to Scientology is eventually going to victimize Ben, because he's, he really loves his wife. And I bet you, that just makes it even worse. Like, you could victimize her and Ben's going to go with her. He's not going to he's going to leave her with her out of the Sea Org if she leaves. I think she'll leave too, because I know her mom, and her mom was very dedicated Scientologist, and I'm sure she has gone on up the OT levels now. But she was also very empathic. I believe that's what the word was she even used. So we'll see. I'm sure she'll leave eventually.
Wow.
This is about Ben Francis. This is about Louis Repetto, because Miriam Francis, who's going to be on the show tomorrow at 6 p.m. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ben. He knew Aaron Smith-Levin, maybe. I don't remember. Yeah, that's it. Ben really Ben got along with Aaron Smith-Levin really well, too. I'm trying to think of the people that we both know who left. Love Sherlock. Hand pink waving. Lewis, I'm glad you're out and doing this. I hope your channel grows fast. Anyone watching, please post comments on the bigger SPTV channels about him. Thanks. Yes, so I'm talking about Asho. Primitive Council. All kinds of things. That's me right there.
Holy shit, okay.
That's that blue shirt. That's Ash O'Day.
Wow. Hold on, I gotta see that up close, man. Come on, Louie.
That's me right there.
Oh, man. Can I get the quality higher? He looks so familiar. God, he looks so familiar. With the short hair, yeah.
That's that blue shirt. That's Ash O'Day. Oh my god, this actually might even be Rated to Polly's mom. I think it actually might be. I'm not sure. Boom. I think that is. Huh. Rady's husband is Ben. Miriam Francis is talking tomorrow, and her brother's Ben. He's still in the Sea organization.
What the
Can't
fuck?
wait to talk to her about
What
Ben
the fuck? Wow.
and other people in the Sea organization that are still there, or maybe who have left and haven't. It'd be cool. It's going to be cool to talk to her because I believe there's a lot of people we can probably like jog each other's memories on who was there at ASHO. Yeah. It'll be fun. I hope to see you all there.
Oh, shit.
Thanks for watching.
It'll be fun.
Now.
Oh my god. It's not. Poor guy.
Sorry, I've got something in.
All right.
Oh, here we go. Thanks.
He's got, okay. We got a little more to go.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. You are helping people so much more than you ever even know. Thank you. You're welcome. My pleasure. I'm sure that there's got to be something else I can talk about right now. I just feel like I lost my mind for a second. Oh yeah, I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, because I think I know why he felt like he lost Mike. He's about to do these talks with these other people. It may or may not happen. I haven't checked yet. This video is dated about 19 hours ago. So holy shit, you know. Holy shit. Man. So glad you're out. Let me put a heart sign. Because this is new, apparently. Heart. Do a black heart. We do a fleur de lis. We do a black heart. We do a comment. All right. This is fucking incredible. Like breaking news almost.
Let's watch the beginning of season 2, episode 1. It's called Thetans in Young Bodies.
This season, you're going to hear even more horrific stories. And although they're heartbreaking and shocking,
oh fuck,
it does validate.
Okay, I gotta tell y'all, I haven't watched the Leah Remini stuff. I haven't watched. Is he gonna make me watch the Leah Remini shit? I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna lose it.
Doing the right thing by continuing to speak out and continuing to expose Scientology and its abusive practices. We will stand together, all of us, and we will continue to right these wrongs.
I am the writer of the textbooks of Scientology. The aim and goal is to put man in a mental condition where he can solve his own problem.
Without any Scientology organization, things are not going to change on this planet.
After years of slowly
Thanks,
questioning Scientology,
Leah Remini and her very public break with Scientology.
Stop lying to people that they hold their eternity in their hands. Stop telling parents that it doesn't matter what you do this lifetime other than Scientology. If your religion is so amazing and doing
Yet. Oh my God. You got me, Louis.
That is the episode that starts season 2, episode 1 of the Scientology Leah Remini Scientology in the Aftermath. Excellent show. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. Miriam is going to be on. She is going to be on tomorrow at 6 p.m. Is it correct that you're live daily at 4 p.m.? No, it is not correct, because I've been going through some mental conniptions, and sometimes I just feel blocked, like I can't communicate, and I can't do the every day at 4 o'clock thing at the CST. I wish I could, but I'm gonna try. It's just a good time for me to do it. But if I do get back into it, I will definitely put it back on my profile on YouTube. Thank you for asking. Oh yeah, I hated listening to his tapes. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, his the quotes that they use in the every time they use a quote, I don't understand why they use like the crappiest sounding quote. Like it was like his I was like he was like dying or something while he was delivering the quote. I don't know why. There's some other good, LRH references, lectures that were decent. I don't know why they didn't use those.
It's true.
Thank you. I'm in,
I want to hug
Missouri,
this dude.
St. Louis, Missouri, Central Time. Yeah. So I want to actually see if I can present this share screen and go back to it.
Okay, Jay. I see that you joined the Discord. And Selena, welcome.
There we go. All right.
I would repeat this line, I want to die, I want to die. That was my first idea of, I want to end my own life.
You gave me up at 13 years
That's
old.
Miriam.
How could you think that this was okay for me?
These people are doing extreme things, and they need to be held accountable.
for us to do more of this, we wanted to do something that could help these people.
We need to do more than simply document stuff.
You got this. People will continue to speak. People will continue to fight.
Okay, you're gonna read that. A child is not a special species of animal distinct from a man. A child is a man.
It's not a special species of animal that's from a child, man, or a woman. Okay. Yes. So Elrich is describing in this book Child Dianetics, which is not even a book about. It's not even really a book anymore. They actually took it out. Yeah. Child Dianetics was a compilation of child references that L. Ron Hubbard had made he would make references to children in various lectures. They compiled it and made it into this book, Child Dianetics. That's where this reference is from. Child is distinct from this thing. Okay, sorry. Gosh, I suck at this. A child is not a special species of animal distinct from man. A child is a man or a woman who has not attained full growth.
I love how he is not beating himself up over it. It's just, it is what it is, man. Whatever you do, you get it done. He's able to laugh. That's a good sign.
So, yeah, that is true. I grew up thinking that Thetans and young bodies. So, a Thetan is basically doesn't have any age. They are immortal. They have no gender.
The humor, I think, is essential. Like, I think it's essential. It's so absurd. It's so horrific, But I think the humor is quite essential. Just to not be so upset or apathetic or angry or whatever all the time. Humor is a good medicine. They say laughter is the best medicine. I mean, he's talking about some heavy shit, and he's like trying to give us this information, and he can't fucking do the thing. He's like, I suck at this, and he laughs at himself. It's a good sign. Humor, very important.
As well. That is actually a reason why I would call myself gender fluid, or not having any gender. It's just because I'm not really sure if I'm male or female, and sometimes I feel like it changes in my mind, and so I just say I'm gender fluid. But I don't mind being called him or they or them or his, her or she. Any pronoun is fine. But yeah, so Thetan is somebody who has no gender. It is they're in a child or they're in an adult. It makes no difference. We've all had millions of years of experience already.
I do declare.
Scientologists believe that children are old spirits in little bodies, that they've lived before and they're going to live again. Why is that dangerous? That's a dangerous concept because then there's no ownership. You learn that, yes, your daughter's your daughter this lifetime, but maybe she was your mother last lifetime and she might be your husband another lifetime. So you don't really value your interpersonal relationships with your kids. There's not like that ownership of like, no, that's my kid. I will deal with my kid the way I deal with my kid. You hand your child over to Scientology, and it's just no way for a child to be raised.
So, the Thetans and young bodies thing, and so she's saying that it's no way for a person to be raised, for a Thetan, for a young child to think that they're neither an adult nor a child, that they're a wizard, basically, and they have magic powers. So that's what Scientology is teaching them. That they are wizards and they've lived many lifetimes and they have special abilities and yeah. Now
wizards. So yeah, like kids are taught that basically they're gonna grow up and they are gonna be wizards. Oh, I love it. I love it. And yeah, the concept of thetans is non-gender specific. It's gender fluid, so it makes total sense that he feels that way.
Dayton's in the okay. So want to talk about that for me. My parents, my dad and my mom, they never really treated me like so they were they would like do Dayton's because I grew up, Lewis. I believed after growing up.
I think he was saying, me, Lewis. This is just I'm just evaluating, but like he talked about Jason Begay earlier. He had been watching that, and Jason Begay made the really excellent point that there's Jason Begay, the Scientologist, and then there's Jason Begay. In Scientology, you become so and so, the Scientologist, the working cog in the machine, um, and the terminal, and all the dehumanizing things that turn you into just a slave, masters, seniors, juniors. You can see it. It's sad. You still see it in his eyes.
After like 14 or 15, that I was not really related to my dad, Dayton. I'm Lewis Dayton, and Lewis Dayton is not really related to Dad Dayton. Just our bodies are along the same genetic line. And so in my mind, it was like, it wasn't that important to me to see family. Wow. Or to go to a relative event, or I didn't get it. I didn't care because I thought, oh, we're just Daytons. We're living here. Like our connection is through these bodies. And I remember talking with David about this, one of my best friends growing up, and he was just saying that, yeah, your bodies are not even, they're connected like genetically and all that, but as a person, you're not. There's really no relation. You could be, I could be your mom from 5 lifetimes ago, or we don't even know each other, or and then it became more real as I became a Sea Org member.
Yeah.
That your family, it doesn't matter. The only reason why you want to deal with your family in the first place is so that there's no opposing threat to you being in the Sea organization, right. At least for me.
Right. Wow.
Yes, me too. All right, here we go. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Push and play.
Holy shit. Laura FM is in the building. Laura FM is in the building. Oh my God.
After season 1,
how do I look?
More people reached out with more tragic stories.
I'm starstruck.
An organization that claims to be the moral standard for the world. The hypocrisy is just horrendous.
I'm getting hit with multiple
Are there
things
people
right
that
now.
actually do want to do something about it? Yes, there are.
And we're meeting 2 of them today.
Boom. I like how she drops a hammer. And we're meeting 2 of them today, and we're going to do something about it.
Oh God. Okay. Got hit with two things at one time there. Laura FM pops into the chat. Holy shit. It's like Rockstar just in the room. Feeling a little inadequate. And the footage that Louis is showing, I have watched very little of because I get so fucking emotional when I try to watch the Leah Remini and the aftermath. I just I don't want to be a blubbering mess because that's what happened in the first 30 minutes of the first season. It's episode 1.
So that's where the introduction to Miriam happens. She tells her story about being brought into the Sea Organization as a young cadet child while her parents were Sea Org members, and she got sexually assaulted multiple times, and the nothing was done about it by Scientology. Common story.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. You ask me. So later on, she actually joined the Sea Organization, and that's where I knew her for a year and a half to 2 years. That's where I knew her, and we're going to talk about it.
Laura, did you know Louis? Because he was a MAA at ASHO and a SSO at LA Day.
Tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's going to be great. I hope you're on a typewriter. That's a lot of texting. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this comes up all the time. When you think, with Scientology, when you think it can't get any worse, it always does. It always does. You see that all over, because people are watching the videos and hearing the stories. And man, my microphone is in a real fucked up position here. Fix that. Yeah, you think it can't get any worse. Today, found out that there was a guy who was with his daughter and had a baby and was still active on lines at ASHO.
Yeah, definitely. But and that's why I think with Ben, he is going to get victimized, which sucks.
Thank you. I'm fab.
Or Rady is going to get victimized, or and it's a whole Scientology family there. So something bad is going to happen because Scientology just is a money-making steamroller. It fucks you over.
Yeah.
Nice. Damn. That's freaking good. Props.
Yeah.
I do like a 2 texting thing like this. I'm pretty fast. But some people do like a one-hander. Some people do like the swiping. I never got into the swiping.
Yeah.
Crystal Clarity does the swiping. Okay, back to the thing. I don't really want to play the whole thing. I mean, you can watch it. It's season 2, episode 1.
Oh God.
It's
thank God he's not going to play
the other person in the story, Sina. And I'm friends with her on Facebook currently. Wow, are we all different after leaving the Sea Organization?
Yeah, for sure, my man.
But oh, you're a one fingerer? Damn. Dang. That is one quick finger. I'm impressed. Is it thumb finger? Which thumb is it, left or right? So yeah. I knew Sina as well. She was on the Aftermath. She was awesome. I knew her in the Sea Org. She was in Astro Foundation as well. She was an examiner, and
Not a euphemism.
used to always want to be like her.
Thank you for not.
She has really good TR0.
Thank you for not missing that.
And she looks so pleasant. She's just very relaxed and pleasant. And then she would rarely ever miss calling at a floating needle. She said that, the floating needle definitions, they change all the time. It's depending on who is looking at reviewing the video, which I totally.
The humor is essential. Yes. It's sublimation. You can sublimate through laughter. I like music too. And that helps too. But humor and laughter, yes.
Totally agree with.
It's part of why when I try to watch the Aftermath, I'm just like, why can't I just watch something that makes me laugh? This is it's so well put together. I'm an editor and all this other stuff, and I look at it in multiple ways, but like the impact, the shots, how everything is done, it's extremely well done. And so like, and I was involved with Scientology, so, and some of the people on there I know, so it's like just rip my fucking heart out, not just personally, but like artistically, because I'm looking at something that just on its own merits as far as editing and presentation goes, which is an art form, is absolutely fantastic. So it hits me on two different levels. If I watch movies that are well done, they don't even have to have a good story, but like if I see the vision behind the filmmakers, the camera lens and colors and shots, like that will evoke an emotional response from me. So you put all of that shit together, and I'm just this hypersensitive blob of that needs like tissues constantly. I don't like going to movie theaters because of that, and because I'll cry at like action scenes and stuff. I'm like, God, that's so fucking beautiful. Like, why are you crying? He's jumping a motorcycle because of the angles of what they were driving. Get a hold of yourself, man.
Oh, damn. Right middle. Huh. Like this? Wow. That's cool. Should take a live video of that sometime. That's interesting. That's cool. Well, thank you for all the comments. Let's see here. So Sina, yeah, she was on the show as well. Maybe I'll message her and see if she can do a live as well. She'd be pretty cool to have on. She knew a bunch of people I knew. Like she knew Arthur Milford, Brenna Peabody. They were all Astro Foundation. Hannah Rue. Renee Norton, of course.
Wow. These names are ringing a bell.
Bunch of Astro Foundation technical staff too. Cosmo Sherman, who did not like me very much. In the beginning, he liked me, but just after a while, stopped liking me. And then I don't know if you knew Dorian Sirocco. She knew him. There's a lot of people in the Sea Org that there's a lot of turnover. A lot of turnover. Yeah. So, well, I am coming up to 10 seconds left in my live. Thank you so much for watching.
10 seconds left.
And I hope that
oh, he's probably on a phone.
You are going to be watching tomorrow at 6 p.m. when
that's
Miriam
today.
Francis comes on the show.
I'm assuming that's got to be today, huh, Laura? This is so in theta. Yes, it is. Okay, great. Excellent. I'm still catching up, Laura. I've got so much catching up to do. That's why I'm doing it broadcast because it helps. Honestly, it helps because sometimes, like, it's I can pipe people in, we can talk, we can be a community about it, and because this shit's fucked, man. Am I right? If you know I'm right, Chad did it. I like Clearwater Chad. I like his personas. I like his bits. I love the waterfalls. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of former Scientologists that are now on YouTube. Overwhelmed. It didn't used to be that way. And some of the names that he mentioned, like, they ring bells, but like, because I was on the PTSSP course at ASHO, signed up in 2003, and paid like $18 on it. But you bet your ass I got a notification regularly. Hey, when are you coming in to do your to pay for your PTSSP course? I would get letters from the registrar, I get letters from course soups, and I'm not sure who else I got letters from. But yeah, like this dude seems like he was active the same time, around the same time, probably before me and after me, because I was only in for 2.5 years on staff. And then I escaped back to Louisiana. My brother got out a year before me, so he did 1.5 years. But he did come back, and we worked on some music. It's total bust. And yeah, it's noon, and this was ding. This is, I need to come up with a little intro or something. Deprogramming. Take the E program out, and you just got ding. Little subliminal marketing shit going on here. Y'all go eat some lunch. And oh my God, Laura FM came in the channel. I'm starstruck. I've been playing her music on K-Fuck Radio. And I got a claims assistant volunteer because I have the rights to play all this stuff. I got permission to play this stuff. And most of what I'm getting claims on is my own music, like my music. And then there's 2 other claims that are related to some publishing companies, but the artists have their permission from the publishing company, but their distribution is making the automatic content ID claim. So I just got to sort that out, and I have a volunteer. Someone who volunteered to be a claims assistant, and that's awesome because I'm trying to promote artists that I consider affiliated, and artists here in Louisiana, but not specifically any affiliations. The way I see it, any affiliation to Louisiana is Louisiana based, because I'm based in Louisiana. So yeah, that's all good stuff. I'm gonna grab some lunch and maybe be back a little after a while, as we say down here in the South. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you'll have a good lunch. Where's my cue? Da-ding.